Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yep, I can agree with that. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great patriot. Once he wore the American flag as a cape.
What is going on, America? It is your boy, Chris America. What is up, Canada? How you doing over there on the Barn Burner Network? It is exciting to be here, Loudbeard. I am ready for today's show. There is something I want to talk about. It is a gift that keeps on giving. We can talk about that later. But how is your Wednesday going so far? Or wait, today's Thursday.
I was going to say my Wednesday was great because it's
how was your
over.
Wednesday?
And now it's Thursday. Yeah, no, Wednesday was good. Hump day. Now I'm on the
Hump
downslide
day.
of the week, right? Downslide of the week. So
Hey,
we're heading in. It's like Major League Baseball. We're just sliding in. Sliding right on in. Today's opening day, Chris America. Are you ready for some baseball?
Is it opening day?
It is opening day. It is the earliest opening day in the history of Major League Baseball outside of those international games. You know, when I was all excited about the opening game?
Yeah.
By the way, the Mariners right now are leading the league 2-0 because they played in Tokyo and they dominate in Tokyo.
Oh, they swept
Mariners.
them, huh?
Mm-hmm. Seattle's so hot right now.
So who was 0-2? I honestly didn't see who they played. I just
Oh,
followed
man.
the Ichiro story. That's all I really followed.
Yeah, you're throwing me on the spot here. I want to say it was the Twins, but I could be dead wrong. I'd have to go back and look at the stat machine.
Somebody is in first place with 2-0, and somebody is in dead last at 0-2 opening day.
Yep, that's a tough way to start the year. The good news is
it's
there's
you see
like
number 1
540
2-0,
games.
and then you see number 1 2-0 tied for second is like 29 other teams, and then 30th is whoever went 0-2.
Oh, there we go. They played the A's. Come on, man. Okay, you're right. My bad. My bad, Scotty Kaiser. He's calling us out on Twitter
back
already.
on the mic.
At Scout Team Radio on Twitter. Make sure you hit us up. We like to interact. We will read your tweets on the air. And this is in all caps because he's screaming. He said, they played the A's at Scout Team Radio. Come on, man. Yeah, we should have remembered that. I don't know, though. Are the A's really that relevant where we care about the A's? No, absolutely not.
But you know what he's thinking in his mind? He's like, look, guys, some technical difficulties and Chris saying test, and y'all playing commercials on the show. I can deal with that. But you're not going to know every single game that's going on in baseball? I will have none of it.
Blasphemy. That is absolute blasphemy. Now, Chris America, for it being opening day, I have an opening day Who's Your Daddy for you. So I want to present you with that. And you know what? I'm going off the cuff. Usually we throw out segments towards the end of the show. With it being opening day, I'm so excited, Chris America. I'm so excited. I'm going to do it right now for you. So I've got a couple good ones. And these ones are easy. I think they're ones that you can get behind. I think they're ones that you'll be excited about. So the first one for you, we have got the New York Yankees going up against the Baltimore Orioles. And it's not just that. It's the fact that Andrew Kashner a pitcher that had a 5.29 ERA and a record of 4-15 is the opening day starter going up against Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and the team that led the league in home runs. So I ask you, Andrew Kashner versus Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton.
Who's your daddy?
Boy, oh boy, do the MLB schedulers hate the Baltimore Orioles because they were god-awful last year, were they not?
They still are.
Like, that was one of the worst teams. If there was a team that was tanking, it was the Baltimore Orioles last season. And the MLB schedulers are like, hey, what can we do to help out the Baltimore Orioles? I know, let's have them play the best team in their division right off the bat. Get them off to a good 0-3 start.
Yeah, let's do it.
So to answer your question, Aaron Judge will be Kashner's daddy.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing Aaron Judge develop this year. I'd like to see him maybe eliminate some of those strikeouts, but really hone in on his game, and I think he'll take it the next step. I think he is that big superstar, that big name that MLB needs. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, and when you go up against the Baltimore Orioles and that pitching staff that is just really, really not that good, yeah, this could be a great start to the season for all of the Yankees. So good choice there, Chris America. Okay, the next one, this is another good one. We have got the Phillies going up against the Braves. So you have got the big trade acquisition, Bryce Harper, versus that NL Rookie of the Year, Ronald Acuna Jr. So between Bryce Harper and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Who's your daddy?
Well, this is an interesting matchup to start off the day because you have the Phillies who are trying to, as people put it, buy their way to a championship, and then you have the Atlanta Braves who have been taking sort of that Houston Astros route these last few years, right? They've been building through the draft, getting young players, making a couple of moves here and there, just trying to really develop a team. And I know our boy Scotty Kaiser out there, he's listening. He's excited about this. A lot of Atlanta Braves fans are excited about this season. They think that all their long waiting and watching all those losses are finally going to come to fruition. So I think I'm gonna side with your boy. I think it was a Carcona. Is that what you said?
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Acuna Jr. Sorry, I had Bryce Harper on my mind. I think Bryce Harper is going to come out trying to prove himself too hard today. Like, I got to go out there and show that I can earn my $330 million contract. And I think it's going to end up in a lot of hacks and strikeouts and foul balls and pop-ups.
Yep. Okay. Now, man, I must be off my game today because Scotty Kaiser he's given us the 1-0. He said he wasn't traded. He was signed. I think I said trade acquisition.
You did say trade acquisition. I heard it. I almost said something
acquisition.
about it, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to let it slide. But
He was
the
a
Twitter
free
Mafia,
agent.
man.
He was an expensive free agent.
The scout team Twitter
Man.
Mafia will not let you let it slide, man.
No, absolutely not. You know, it's 6:07 a.m. in the morning right now. Okay, my brain is waking up. No excuses for me, though. I have to take it. I got to take my lumps when they come because I deserve that. He was not a trade acquisition. He was a free agent, the biggest free agent on the market. We talked about him ad nauseum all offseason, so I should get this together. So moving on with the next Who's Your Daddy. So we have the big Cy Young winner, Blake Snell, with the Tampa Bay Rays going up against the legendary Justin Verlander. So I ask you, Chris America,
Who's your daddy?
Justin Verlander or Blake Snell?
Oh, the old guy versus the young hot gun. I'm going to go Snell. On this one. Although now I'm thinking about it, I don't know, man. He felt very slighted by the Rays by not getting more money. So I feel like he's got to come out.
Yeah, but they gave him that extension after that story. We didn't get to talk about it. Yeah, they ended up giving him some money. So he got an extension. He's in good shape. Don't worry. They took care of him.
Okay, then I missed that story. Yeah. So then I'm gonna go with Snell though. I think he wants to prove like, hey man, I'm here too. I'm legit. I'm gonna come out and fire some heat, and I think the Rays are gonna surprise some people early on.
Yeah, okay. There you go. The local team, right? You got to go with the local
Gotta
team.
go with the local team. Go
Oh,
race.
Yep. Let's see if Verlander's still got some left in the tank. I'm sure Kate Upton will get him up for this game. I'm pretty confident in that. So, moving on. Next, Who's Your Daddy? We got some Cy Young candidates each and every year. Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. We got the Mets versus the Nationals. So, great pitching duel. So, I ask you, Chris America, who's your daddy? Jacob deGrom or Max Scherzer?
Who's your daddy?
I don't. Can I? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have you pinch hit for me on this one, Loudbeard. You always have me do this, and since it's opening day, and I know that Scott is a big time NL fan, he hates the DH. I'm gonna have you come in and pitch hit for me, buddy. Since we're talking about pitchers, it's the bottom of the eighth. We're at the top of the rotation. We got the guy warming up in the pen, anyways. Bring us home on this one, buddy. Come pinch hit for me.
All right, so you need help here, right?
I'm having you come in. I want you to come in and be the star. I want you to bring this one home.
Well, that's easy. I'm going deGrom. I like deGrom stuff, though the team behind him isn't as good. But, Nationals without Bryce Harper. Let's see what they have together. But I'm going Jacob deGrom. He's my daddy on this one. All right, I got one last one for you, Chris America. This is the final one. And I had to bring it up because this guy was not a trade acquisition. This guy was a free agent. I have to be very specific after misusing words earlier in the show. Manny Machado out there for San Diego. He's going up against San Francisco Giants. So you have the Mad Bum, Madison Bumgarner, going up against Manny Machado. So I asked you, Chris America.
Who's your daddy?
Mad Bum or Manny Machado?
Well, every time I hear Bumgarner's name, I think of Henry Rowan Gardner and that great movie when I was a kid, Rookie of the Year. So I'm going to go with him, man, just because of that. No other reason.
Okay, there you go. That's terrible way to reason that out.
That is the kind of analytical breakdown you get here on Scout Team Radio. Some guy reminds me of the name Henry Rowan Gardner from one of the best kids movies, one of the best sports movies of all time, Rookie of the Year.
All right.
I mean, it's got a kid who breaks his arm and has magical gift of pitching a really fast ball and Gary Busey. What more do you want out of a movie?
I don't know. I like that kid's movie, Blank Check. I thought that was fun.
I found
by the way, Scott Kaiser
day.
Agreed with me. He said DeGrom.
Yeah, of course.
Just throwing that out there. You know what? I'm gonna have to go Mad Bum with this one. I'm not picking your Henry, or you. I guess you did do Madison Bumgarner because you're Henry Bumgarner, but.
Rowan
I don't know
Gardner,
about
man.
Machado,
Right.
man. I feel like Machado's going to be that disappointment. He seems like a guy that lacks motivation. He got that big payday. I don't know if he's going to be the star in San Diego like they are hoping for. So I'm going to have to give the tilt to Mad Bum on this one. But hopefully Machado, hopefully he surprises all of us and comes out and he becomes that superstar that he is getting paid to be. So Chris America, wow. We started early with some Who's Your Daddy on Major League Baseball. A lot of storylines. Opening day's exciting. Again, the Mariners leading the league right now. That will probably change in the next few days here. I almost guarantee it. But a lot of great stuff going on. Another little side factoid because I like to bring the facts to the show in the morning. That is there's not a single active player that is going to be playing on opening day today that was active in the 1990s. So 1997 was the debut of Bartolo Colon, but he is not active right now on a roster. And last year, Andre Beltre, he was active in 1999. He is also retired and out of the league. So not a single player that played in 1997 or 1998 or 1999 is going to be active on a roster come opening day. So we are actually to the point where the 90s don't even exist anymore, Chris America.
You know what that means, Loudbeard?
What does that mean?
We're old.
Yeah, okay. You had to bring that up, huh? Making me feel down today. Bringing my energy level down.
And
really hurting my feelings.
You know what you do when you're old, Loudbeard?
You sleep a lot, and you snore, and you grow hair in weird places.
No, you stop for gas. You see
you
that,
get a lot of gas. Yep.
You see that one gas station is 22 cents cheaper, and so you make the little extra quarter-mile trip to get down there. And then you go and you say, I'm going to buy me a scratch-off ticket. And then you win $1 million. That's what Randy Richardson did. He was going to stop at one gas station, saw that the other one was 22 cents cheaper, went down the street, and said, you know what, while I'm pumping gas, let me go get a Mega Million drawing. Gets the scratch-off, boom, winner, chicken dinner.
Why don't we have that kind of luck, huh? I need to. Well, first of all, I haven't bought a scratch off in forever, so maybe that's my problem. If you don't
we usually
play,
get scratch offs
you
for Christmas.
Can't win, right? You don't play, you can't win.
That's what that guy said. He said I can't win $1 million if I don't play.
That is so true, my friend. I don't know, man. I wish I had $1 million. Maybe I should bet on some of this March Madness that's coming up because we do have a ton of good games coming up this weekend, and it starts out tonight. I felt lost. Like I felt we had a couple days off there. We weren't talking about March Madness. It consumed us all last weekend. All Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then you take this break, and Tuesday and Wednesday were I felt like my soul was empty. It was dead inside.
Yeah, it has been kind of like, man, what do I do? Like you watch some NBA, and some of it was good. Like the Magic Heat game was pretty good. There was a few good NBA games, and it's kind of funny because when you watch college basketball and then you switch over to the NBA, it is like night and day. I feel like with the NFL, you see some similarities, but with the NBA, it's just like, number one, the biggest difference is there's no zone defense at all. Like, I think sometimes I think it's comical that you watch a college basketball game and there's just 5 guys on the floor with their arms up in the air shuffling back and forth, like just side to side. Like they're in they're old people at the retirement center doing like the swimming exercises.
I've got a visual of that right now.
Yeah. And you watch the NBA, and it's just like, it's not that at all. It's just guys that are just so fast, so athletic. You even look at some of the no-name guys like Michael Carter-Williams and Evan Fournier, and you think, gosh, if these guys played in college, they would probably be killing it right now. But because they're in the NBA, I don't know, it just gave me a better appreciation for NBA basketball after watching a full weekend of college basketball. I don't think I've ever really done that before because usually when March Madness starts, I kind of turn off the NBA. Like I don't really watch it. But this year I was just kind of like, man, I'm still kind of into basketball. Let me go check out what the NBA is doing. Plus the Magic are actually in a playoff run right now. Like they're actually competing where the last 6 years I haven't had that in my life. So it was just interesting to kind of just see how big of a gap there is between college basketball and NBA basketball.
Yeah, and you think about it, when they do the NBA draft, it's only 2 rounds, and you're only limited players that get picked, and a lot of them now are international players. So you're really only looking at maybe 20 or 30 guys that'll even make it to the NBA, and a lot of them are going to be sitting riding benches. So when you look at all these teams, 68 teams that make the tournament, right, when you count the play-in teams, that's a lot of players that this is it for them. They're not moving on to the NBA. This is it. So that talent pool does get a little bit more shallow. And the games, to me, that makes it fun. It makes it more like watching, schoolyard basketball. It's more about, these teams coming together. It's about the teams, about a lot of times the more of the juniors and seniors that are there that have that experience. It's not so much about the big-time players, where in the NBA it's so big-time player-centric. In college basketball, the teams that are more of a well-rounded team are typically the ones that do well and go the furthest. Every once in a while you have some exceptions to that rule, but it can't just be one guy. It's got to be a team. And that's what I look forward to about March Madness is there's just no agendas. It seems like it's not like, I don't know, it's just different. These guys just love the game. They go out, they play their hearts out, and it's just entertaining. And we've got some great games ahead of us tonight. I mean, I'm looking forward to this FSU Gonzaga game. We got the number 4 seed FSU going up against Gonzaga. And I know you love Florida State. That's your second favorite college team, right? Yeah?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Just verifying, making sure the listeners knew that you being a lifetime Florida Gator fan, that you love it when Florida State is in it and your Gators are out of it. So we'll just keep bringing that up to make you feel better this morning, right? So it's Thursday. You need some good, feel-good stories here. So Florida State going up against number 1 Gonzaga. Florida State has played so good this tournament, and right now they're hot at the right time, but they're going up against that really tough number 1 team. So can the number 4 Florida State Seminoles knock out Gonzaga? I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, I think they can. Chris America, I'm going to say this. I think Florida State will upset Gonzaga tonight. What do you feel about that?
Okay, so this is gonna pain me to say this. Sometimes when you do a professional radio show like we do, you gotta set aside the Gator hat. You gotta set aside your fan pride and just start talking sense, right? I'm trying to spit out the words. The Florida State Seminoles right now under Leonard Hamilton is a lot like the Florida Gators were under Billy Donovan from the time that Billy Donovan got there all the way up to before he won the 2 back-to-back national championships. It's just kind of been like they're good. They're really good. They've always played well. Now he's been at this for now I guess he was hired in 2002. He's been at it for a lot longer than it took Billy Donovan to get there. But it's like these last 5 or 6 years, like Florida State is like right there. They're just on that cusp, but they can't seem to get over the hump. The Elite 8 was the furthest they've ever been. So this is, I think, their second Sweet 16 appearance under Leonard Hamilton. I think Florida State, they might be on that run that they finally need. This has got to be the game that they have to do. They have to beat this number 1 seed here to get it. And I think Gonzaga, I mentioned it before when we went over this this whole tournament, that Gonzaga is that team that is always high and rated highly. They get the higher seeds, and a lot of people like to kind of pick them as that mid-major to do some damage, and then they just sort of fall flat. They fall short somewhere. This could be that game where Gonzaga falls short.
Yeah, I think it is. And Florida State, they've impressed me so far this season. Now, I'm going to be a little bit different with Gonzaga than you are. I think Gonzaga has got a lot of talent. And if they win, I won't be surprised one bit whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I won't be
think
surprised
they live
either.
up to that billing.
Like they should beat Florida State. They're the 1 seed.
Yeah, they're the 1 seed. They should beat it. And I think if Florida State was going up against Virginia, I actually have put a lot more weight into Gonzaga being a better team than Virginia. Maybe that's because they got knocked out last year. This year they struggled with Gardner-Webb. And I don't know. I look at it and I think Florida State, this is their opportunity. And you're right. They need to make some noise. This is that one game to show that they are going to insert their dominance and prove to the college basketball world that they are for real. So they have to come out and show up tonight. And this is a big opportunity against a Gonzaga team that is very, very good. And honestly, fun. I'm just looking forward to the matchup, right? Like this will be a fun game to watch. All right, another game on tonight. Your Michigan Wolverines going up against Texas Tech. How are you feeling about this matchup? Number 3, Texas Tech. Number 2, Michigan.
Well, Michigan is kind of that same deal as Florida State, probably more so than Florida State. They've been to the national championship twice in the last 5 years. They have been coached very well under Beeline, and I've been high on them all season. They kind of sputtered out towards the end of the year. Like they started out 17-1 or 17-0, and they just kind of, I don't know. They lost the road game to Penn State. They lost to Michigan State 3 times. I lost a lot of confidence going in, and I'm going to come back and stick to my guns. I still like Michigan. I think they're going to get it over Texas Tech. I have them winning the national championship in one of my brackets, so I gotta write them out, right?
All right, bracket guy. 1 out of your 78 brackets, you
That's
decided
right.
Michigan would be the winner.
79, but who's counting?
You're my MVP bracket guy. You are.
Real man of Jesus or genius.
You are a real man of Jesus. What is wrong
Jesus
with
spelled with a Z.
you? Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus? Jesus.
Who do you
All
got,
right,
man?
so I got to go Michigan. I do have to go Michigan. I want to go against Michigan just because I was throwing you shade earlier in the season, and I was saying Michigan State was the best team in the state, and I still believe that. I'll be honest with you. I still believe that. But I do think Michigan is a better squad overall than Texas Tech. Well coached, like you mentioned. Yeah, I don't see Texas Tech, and I guess I'm going to say upset, but it's a 2 seed against a 3 seed, evenly matched. But I'm going to give a little bit more to that Michigan team. So I'm going Michigan with the win over Texas Tech.
All right, I like it. Any other games today?
Yes, there is. We got 2 more games. Tennessee versus Purdue, another 2-3. So today was like the chalk games. We had 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, another 2 versus 3, Purdue. There's only one game that isn't chalk, and I'll save that one for last. But Tennessee versus Purdue. I'm going to have to go Tennessee in this one just because I know you hate Tennessee because you're a Florida Gators fan. That's the only reason why. Tennessee's still a good basketball squad, but just because of that, I'm going Tennessee.
Yeah, look, I only have it in me to pick one of my rivals to win in any certain what are my picks day. I'm going Purdue, man. Just out of sheer just out of principle right now. I just can't do it. Purdue.
Lifelong Boilermaker fan, huh?
Yeah, man.
Boilermakers, yeah. I like it.
Drew Brees, what's up?
Yeah, Drew Brees. I'd like to see him get out there and just, shoot around ahead of the game. That would give the guys some motivation. What other legendary Purdue players can we put out there? There aren't any. Okay, we'll just do Drew
Those
Brees.
are the only ones I know. Well, then there's that and what is his name? The head coach. No, he didn't play for Purdue. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, what's
the
his
guy
name,
that played for the
coach?
Orlando Rage? He's the head coach. He's famous. He's just a famous Purdue guy. I mean, when you're the
we'll
coach,
go famous Purdue guys. That guy. So yeah.
Braum,
Okay,
I
so
think it is.
here we go. We got some rivalry going. We both picked FSU. We both picked Michigan. But now we get to argue with each other about Tennessee and Purdue. And when my team triumphs over your Purdue Boilermakers, I get to rub it in your face tomorrow and make you eat an idiot sandwich. I'm looking forward to that.
I'll be
now,
here for it.
The last game on the slate, and this one I'm probably most excited about because I want a Cinderella team. I want an upset. I want to see somebody kind of make a run that we weren't expecting. And I like the Oregon Ducks. I've mentioned it on the show that Oregon was one of those teams that got hot at the right time. They got hot towards the end of the season. Their record wasn't the greatest, but they were that one team that came out of their shell towards the end of the season, and you started seeing what they were capable of. I like Oregon's chances in this one, and they are the number 12 seed going up against number 1 Virginia. We know what Virginia is when they play Gardner-Webb and struggle. We know what they did last season. Virginia has a stigma to them about being upset. So this, to me, the writing is on the wall. Oregon comes out, they're confident, and they are ready to upset the number 1 Virginia team. I'm going Oregon. How are you feeling about this one, Chris America?
Well, you know that I said that last year's loss is going to motivate this Virginia team, and I'm sticking with that, man. I don't think they're going to get upset. I'm going to disagree with you here. Let's debate it out. Virginia is going to show why they deserve their 1 seed, why last year's loss to UMBC was a fluke, and that they're here to make some noise in this tournament.
Great. You're going to eat a lot of idiot sandwiches tomorrow. I can see it already because your picking is absolutely awful. I'm just saying that so I can piss you off. And tomorrow I can rub that idiot sandwich in your face. So we'll see what happens here. You know me. I like to go with the underdog. I'm not so great at betting sometimes, but we'll go with this one. Number 12, Oregon.
Something gives me a feeling that we're both gonna go 1-3 tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a very good possibility.
The 2 we pick together will lose, and then we'll go 1-1 with the 2 opposite picks.
and then we'll pretend like this conversation never happened.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what's
yeah.
a good
We'll
thing
just be
about
like-
radio. When you control your own radio show and you say something stupid, you just move on and pretend like it never happened. Kind of like Stephen A. when he made that Hunter Henry reference, like, oh, yeah, he's having a great year, and he hadn't played all year. And the 17,000 other Stephen A. mistakes.
What didn't somebody recently just mention a guy who was like retired for like the last 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
I felt like there was another guy that brought something up and he's like, oh, and this guy, and everybody's like, somebody should get in his ear and tell him that the dude's retired 2 years ago.
Though I can't throw too much shade, I did make the mistake of saying the trade acquisition right there. You know, like, so
Yeah,
I
but
make mistakes too.
that's a Freudian slip.
Yeah, okay. We'll go. And Scott Kaiser, he just tweeted at us at Scout Team Radio. Right now, listeners, we want to thank everybody for listening in. Once again, we're Scout Team Radio. You can hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. Right now, Scott Kaiser from Craft Brewed Sports, which is another fantastic show here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. You can catch them every Thursday night, which means tonight. That's right, tonight you can tune in to 12 Ounce Sports Radio, listen to Craft Brewed Sports, or if you want to see what these beautiful-looking gentlemen look like, you can go to their Facebook live feed. They do their show live on Facebook, and you can check out that crew at Craft Brewed Sports. But Scott Kaiser says he's going to remind us tomorrow of these picks that we made so that we are forced to talk about how terrible our picks are.
Yeah, let me see here. Scroll, Scott Kaiser. There we go. The copy link embedded. Oh, yeah, here it is. Mute at Scott Kaiser. Boom. Done. Muted.
Commercial time, just so Scott Kaiser can think about all that madness. He can think about it all. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back. Thank you all for listening in. Once again, we're Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We come at you hot every morning, 6 a.m. on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. We also replay at 11 a.m. on 12 Ounce Sports Radio, and we record every show as a podcast. If you can't catch us live every morning, you can also listen to that podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcast, or anywhere you find a podcast, including our website, scoutteamradio.com. Also, we are a part of the Barn Burner Podcast Network. Barn Burner's based out of Toronto, and they are a great podcast network, so we thank them for dropping our show on their podcast network each and every day. If you want to get interactive with us, make sure you hit us up on Twitter. We're also social on Facebook and Instagram, but Twitter is where you can tweet at us, and we will read your tweets on the air. Hit us up at Scout Team Radio. Well, Chris America, I know I have a lot of other things that we were going to talk about today, including some great announcements from the UFC, but I just wanted to mention one thing to you real quick.
Yeah.
So I was listening to some of the commercials leading up to our show today. I had the headphones on, and you have that. Well, you don't. It was an interview we did with Bill Belichick to do promo for the show.
Yes.
And it says, Bill Belichick is talking about how he should be sad because he just lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles. So that promo still plays on our 12-ounce sports radio station. I forgot how long ago that we did that. Bill Belichick.
I've been thinking about that too. I hear it from time to time on the station. I'm like, I got to update that because we don't even have the night show anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. It's like Wednesday nights. And we're like, ooh, yeah.
Like Bill,
we just
I hope Bill
has
figured. I hope Bill has figured it out by now that we're not on Wednesday nights anymore. He probably forgets every single time and turns it on. And is like, oh, got me again.
Yeah, we got to get him now though because it's the off season, so it's a good time to hit up Bill Belichick, have him redo that promo spot.
I might have to have my people call his people. We'll get something. We'll get something working here.
Yeah,
but
I feel like it might be time. I mean, they did win a Super Bowl since that was dropped, so
yeah.
Okay.
Well, Loudbeard, I said there was the gift that keeps on giving, and it is truly the gift that keeps on giving here. And we missed this earlier, but Scott Kaiser texted or tweeted in. He's basically a co-host of the show now. Scott Kaiser is on our Twitter machine.
Apparently.
He's talking about how he's depressed that there's no more 90s players left in the league or in the MLB. And this is going to make both ourselves and Scott Kaiser depressed because we're hardworking professionals. We've been working hard at this craft for a very long time, right? And we're trying to get big in this radio business, right? Try to get some listens.
Yeah, the cutthroat business of radio. It's not always the easiest. Yep.
Well, here's another guy who's also trying to get into the podcast world, and he's going to instantly get millions of listeners right off the bat because of who he is. I'm, of course, talking about Zach Smith. He dropped this video late last night. Well, I guess it was like early last night at around 7:30. Let's give him a listen.
Anyone that knows me knew this was coming, that this podcast was coming or something of this sort was going to happen. So I've been held accountable for things I did. I've also been held accountable for things I didn't do. So now, knowing me, it's time for me to voice my opinion, the facts, the truth that people don't want you to know, because everyone is going to be held accountable for their actions, for things they actually did. And no one's safe. I don't care about anybody. Everyone is going to know what really happened, because all I care about is the truth, reality.
Oh, man. And this is what makes me mad, Loudbeard, is he's going to drop this podcast, and he's going to get a ton of listens.
Oh, yeah. He's going to blow us out of the water by a little bit.
It's kind of disgusting because it's like he's getting rewarded for his poor behavior.
Hey, there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? Any publicity is good. That's right. So, Zach Smith.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, number one, the first thing I'm going to say is we should give him some pointers on how to record, because I felt like he was watching Wheel of Fortune in the background. I don't know if you kept hearing that dinging. I don't know if you could hear that.
I don't know what that was.
And then it sounded like his phone went off. So rule number one, turn your phone off. Rule number two, find a quiet area to record your show where you don't have Wheel of Fortune on in the background. Number three, yeah, people want to hear this guy's story because they know he's going to rant and rave, and it's going to get listens. And I actually, when I saw that, I thought about reaching out to our station manager and say, dude, you need to jump on this. Get this guy on 12-ounce sports radio. He can have the freedom to say whatever he wants, and he can do it live. He doesn't have to be a podcast. Get him on because we want to hear what this guy has to say, even though you're right. We're rewarding bad behavior.
And so the other part that I knew this was going to happen. I'm surprised it took him this long because this guy has proven time and time again on his Twitter rants and everything that he becomes unhinged. It's like sometimes we've all been there where we're mad and we're like, I should say something, and then always the best advice is like, nah, man, just let this anger pass. Like, it's not worth it. You're arguing against thin air. Like, you're just making yourself look worse. And then hopefully you take that advice and you do, but not this guy. This guy is just always like, when he gets on a roll, man, he starts thinking about things that he's angry about. He's going to let everybody have it. And I feel like Urban Meyer's biggest mistake was keeping this guy around. Like, you have to know, especially because, look, I don't care what you say, Urban Meyer's done some shady things. And when you have a guy that has loose lips like this guy that's a loose cannon that's ready to blow at any moment, that is not the guy you want around your criminal organization or your sleazy dealings and stuff. That's not the guy you want out there because he's going to be the one exposing the truth. And maybe you can pass it off that he's the crazy Zach Smith and nobody will listen to him, but at the same time, you know there's going to be elements of truth to whatever he's going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear what he's going to say because there's no filter. He can say whatever he wants, and like you're saying, there's going to be a little bit of truth, at least to some of it. And, we love reality shows as a society because we want to know what's going on in the background. We want to know what is the backstory, what is really happening. We're so curious to find the real truth, even if it's not the real truth. We just want to know. We want to have a piece of what's going on. And this Zach Smith story, it has been a train wreck since the beginning when he had all those Twitter rants. I mean, the whole thing is blown up in everybody's face. And Zach Smith is a smoking gun that just doesn't stop smoking.
No, he doesn't. And my guess is this dude probably vapes. If you've seen him now, he's totally a vape kind of guy. So he's not
the smoking gun, he's the vaping gun.
He's the vaping gun, yeah.
That's the saddest, most millennial thing that I've ever heard, and I hate it.
If you saw the video, you'd know what I'm talking about. He's the full-on beard.
No, I actually did see the video. Yeah, he's a dude, bro.
Like I didn't see a shirt, but if it was a tap-out shirt, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it was Affliction. Come on, man, get it right.
Affliction. I'm so glad Bedazzled Jeans don't exist anymore. Remember when that was a thing?
I still see them from time to time.
Do you really?
And
I remember
think to myself,
when UFC was at its peak, and I know a lot of people think its peak was Conor McGregor. I feel like UFC was at its peak when it was around that UFC 100 era when the 205 weight class was just so deep and you could just go to a sports bar every single card and it would be packed. I remember going to those packed sports bars and just seeing the Affliction and tap-out shirts with the Bedazzled Jeans all over the place.
Yeah, with all the crazy stitching all around,
yep,
loop-de-loops and flames and stuff.
The roided out bros.
I'm proud to say that I have never once owned an Affliction shirt, a tap-out shirt, or a Bedazzled Jeans. I am a part of the normal world, and I was never part of that world. Of course, I don't also go to the gym and work out very frequently, and I don't fight, and I don't do those other things. So I probably don't fall into that category, but I like to watch UFC fighting, so that counts for something.
I feel like today's episode should be called Bedazzled Jeans.
Bedazzled. Okay, I'm writing that down so I don't forget when I upload the episode. We might get some. I'm gonna hashtag Bedazzled Jeans. Yep. Okay, that is going to be the name of the episode. That's not a problem at all. Yeah, UFC, man. That I want to segue to UFC, but do you have anything else on this Zach Smith thing? Because this is a smoking gun.
We got Scott chiming in again, our Twitter co-host. He's saying the problem is now that guy knows too much, you got to keep him around. You can't let him go because he's going to do exactly what he's what he's doing. My whole thing is in 2009 when he cut loose from this guy at Florida, that's when he should have just been done with it. Like, he probably didn't know much about what was going on at Florida, and if he did, it was very little. And just never bring this guy around again. Just keep that guy as far away from you as you can.
I don't know. I think he was good friends with him, man. I think this was
I know why he did it. Because I guess his grandpa was like a Ohio State coach or something like that, and he has like a lot of respect. And that was Urban Meyer mentioned it in his press conference. It's probably one of the only true things that he said was that, I have a lot of respect for his grandfather, and his family is my family, and so you kind of take in people. That's probably the only really true thing and sincere thing that Urban Meyer said.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll get to hear more about that when Zach Smith's podcast drops. I think he said May, right?
Yeah,
on the
May.
tweet. I can't wait. I'm putting that on my calendar. Now I've got a lot of things to look forward to. I've got Game of Thrones premiering in April. I've got the Endgame coming out in April, and now I have the Zach Smith podcast. So my calendar is full. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
I've got Avengers Endgame, Game of Thrones, and Zach Smith podcast in that order.
Yes, very much so.
All right, and now in July, I've also got something else on my calendar, and that would be UFC 239. The card is announced, and it is absolutely epic. I'm excited for this. Chris America, did you see that your boy, your number one druggie, John Jones, is going and defending his belt against Thiago Santos? Are you ready for this?
Yeah. I mean, look.
Come on,
John
man.
Jones
You don't have no excitement on this?
Well,
it's your guy. It's your boy.
just, it's the realization that there's nobody left in 205 for John Jones to fight. He's gone through everybody, and some of them he's gone through twice. A lot of people feel like he needs to move up to the heavyweight and just take on the guys there, take on DC, Stipe, Overeem, Nagano. I just don't know that, if he has to, I don't know what his walking around weight is, but he's a very lean 205 guy. I'm sure he could get up to 235, 240 to where it's not that big of a weight difference, but to be a fighter at 205 and go fight guys who fight at 255, 260, that's a huge difference in weight. I don't know, man. I don't know what's next for him. I know he's trying to just sign to anybody and everybody so he can just sort of get his name back out there, get in the good graces, constantly win fights so that way he can just distance himself from his past. I like that part about him. I mean, that's the total opposite of Brock Lesnar and Conor McGregor, right?
It is. He is. He's not afraid of any fight. He brings all of it on. He's ready to go. He's prepared. Yeah, I'm with you, man. John Jones is that one big name to me because now we've got Conor retiring. Lesnar's basically washed up, right? And injured and everything going on there. So you can't ride that anymore. To me, the one big name that they need to continue to shine is John Jones. But the problem with that is they got to get him some competition, right? And that's what your point is if we continue to throw the same guys at him, it doesn't mean anything. So how do we make John Jones, if I'm in UFC and I'm Dana White and I'm thinking, how do I sell John Jones to everybody? I have to get him some villains. Every good superhero needs a villain. Or if John Jones is going to be the villain, we need some superheroes. He needs to take out a superhero. And Santos is not a superhero. So I love seeing Jones fight, but you're right. Maybe a little disappointing on the competition side.
It's kind of like watching Alabama play in a down year of the SEC, right? Because they go through their Louisiana Techs and the UL Monroes and all those, and then they play the Mississippi States and the Ole Misses and the Arkansas and LSU. Okay, that's a good solid fighter, but you know that they're not going to do anything against Alabama, and that's what I feel like John Jones is at right now. He's just that much better than everybody and anybody in his class, and maybe he needs to go play like a Clemson, like Stipe, or he needs to go play like in an Ohio State or a DC. We feel like he could beat those guys, but at least it would be an interesting fight. We don't know.
Yeah, and on the Stipe side, I believe that was kind of rumored at one point, and then it kind of dissipated. And I don't think either of those guys would be opposed to fighting each other. So that could still happen. I wouldn't put that to the side completely, though I think that after he gets past this fight, he will need somebody to fight against. So Stipe's name may come back up to the surface at that point. Also on this card, and on the women's side, two big-time hitters. You got Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm, another title match. So this is going to be a great co-main event, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I like Amanda Nunes. I think she's a tough fighter.
Yeah, you kind of cut out on my end. Who were the fights you were talking about?
Oh, Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes.
Oh, that's not fair. What are
You
they
don't think
doing to
so?
my poor? What are they doing to my poor girl Holly? So
You know-
Holly's last 6 fights, she's 2-4, and Holly Holmes is. How do I describe Holly Holmes? Since we're talking college football, I guess Holly Holmes is kind of that LSU of the SEC. Like, she's really good. She's
No, I'm
a
going to give her
solid
the
fighter.
Tennessee. Let's give her Tennessee. Come on.
No, she's not that bad. Come on. Come on. So she's really good, but she can't beat Alabama. She can't beat the top competition in her class. She looks good against those guys or those gals, but you know what I mean. But she looks good. She hangs with them. She tests them, but you sit there and you watch the matches and you're like, nope, it's just not going to get it done. And she's fighting Amanda Nunes, one of the best fighters in the world. Man, I like Holly Holm. She's a great person to root for. I just hate this fight for her because I feel like she's going to lose again.
Now, do you think that her beating Ronda Rousey, what was that, years ago almost? At this point,
like 4 or 5 years now.
that in itself created this name for her as being the one that defeated, like, kind of the Dragon Slayer. So she's been able to ride that. She's a good fighter, but again, 2-4. A lot of other people aren't going to be getting title matches when they're 2-4 in the last 6 fights, right?
Well,
so that name has carried her to continue to be in this conversation to be one of the best fighters. Do you think that you agree with that, or am I stepping out too far?
I think there's a lot of that to it. I think her beating Ronda Rousey solidified her as a name. Everybody knows her. But she really is a good fighter. It's just she's kind of, I can use LSU. It's kind of like the Rockets to the Golden State Warriors. Like, they're a really good team, but they're not there yet. They're still you just know when they play against them in a 7-game series, more than likely, unless some luck happens and goes their way, the Rockets are going to lose. And it's that same way with Holly Holmes. Like, yeah, she's a really talented fighter, man. Like, her kickboxing skills are second to none. She's got such tenacity. She's such a hard-working fighter. She never gives up. She never quits. Like, when I watched her fight Cyborg, oh, man, it was just such a crushing thing because she threw everything at Chris Cyborg, and none of it just fazed her. She was just out of her league, out of her element, and she's just there. It's just there's Amanda Nunes and Cyborg way up here, and then there's a huge gap, and then there's Holly Holm. Like, if those two fighters didn't exist, Holly Holm would be the fighter.
That's a good point, but those other two fighters do exist. So
That they
this
do.
is the world we live in, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I got a couple other things to talk about. I feel like we always run out of time. I've got one big topic that I think I might save for tomorrow. So we'll tease that at the very end of the show. I just want to talk a little NBA. These guys are very fashionable. They do not wear bedazzled jeans. But Devin Booker last night becomes the youngest player in NBA history to have consecutive 50-point-plus games. Unfortunately, the Suns lose both of those games. Is this a good accomplishment, or if you can't get your team to win when you score 50 points, does it really not mean anything?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but I think it's a good accomplishment for getting a high draft pick so you can build around this guy that's scoring you 50 points a night.
That's true. Suns are sitting at the bottom of the league, so they keep losing. It's a good thing for them.
It's kind of the crazy part about the NBA is because you can tank and then you get rewarded for tanking because then you'll get a high draft pick. Plus, you can go and you can sign other players. Like, it'll just be disgusting if the New York Knicks go from the worst team in the NBA to having Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and then they get to draft Zion Williamson #1 overall.
I don't think any of that's going to happen. I just don't feel like New York always strikes out on this stuff. But you're right. If that did happen,
I mean,
it
it
would be
could happen.
absolutely
That's the
disgusting.
thing. And I mean, it's hey man, if it happens, more power to them. It's probably more jealousy on my part that that's never going to happen for the Orlando Magic. But yeah, I digress.
Now, Ty Lue reaches out and assures Luke Walton that he has not been contacted by the Lakers. Should that make Luke Walton feel a little bit better about his job?
No,
No, I didn't
because
think so.
it just means that LeBron James just doesn't want Ty Lue this time around.
Mike Conley passes Marc Gasol as the all-time points leader for the Grizzlies. Is that an impressive feat or what?
Or what?
Okay, moving on. Last night, the Thunder, they go out and get a big win up against the Indiana Pacers. And you mentioned earlier about college athletes and how they're, the college basketball, they're not as quick and you just don't see it. I watched this game last night, and Russell Westbrook, number one, we don't talk about him enough. He is going to average a triple-double this year for the third time in the last 3 years, which to me is just crazy. But that dude is so fast, so athletic. I don't think you realize it until you watch it, and he's basically a blur on the screen. It's like watching a video game. And when you watch college basketball and then you watch the Oklahoma City Thunder play and you see Russell Westbrook, you see the difference in athleticism and the difference of what it is as a player. But I think we should be giving Westbrook more credit. But I think because it's 3 years in a row, we give it the old, it's been there, done that.
Been there, done that. This is what you're supposed to do. It would be more like if he doesn't do a triple-double, like, see, I told you he wasn't that good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's the narrative, and we're going to have to stick to it. But, Chris America, we're about out of time, and I did want to tease this one story because you and I, this is going to affect us. We are part of the AAF community, the Alliance. We're the local media here for the Orlando Apollos, but the majority owner, Tom Dundon from the Carolina Hurricanes, the owner, who just infused a bunch of money into this league, has said that the league is in danger of folding, and we will find out in the next couple of days what that decision is. But I will talk about that more tomorrow.
Do you think the scout team getting kicked out of the press box by Bill Polian had anything to do with it?
Well, I know why he was so angry, because his league's failing.
Oh, man, thanks for tuning in our show. Make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you find your podcast, and subscribe. Peace.